Hey, welcome into another episode of Havlicek Stole the Pod. I am your host, Justin Quinn, quarterbacking for today. We've got Daniel Donabeating here as always, and special guest Khari, Thompson. Sorry, I will get that right. Apologies. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I appreciate it. It's a pleasure to meet you, Justin. Daniel, I know you.
Yeah, and so recently.
Very cool. So we've actually got some stuff to talk about. The entire off-season doldrums and all that is in the rearview mirror. We will talk about Al Horford leaving, Marcus Smart's new gig, a starting five, but mostly training camp and media day. That's a little bit in the rearview mirror. There's a ton of news to talk about, but most of it's media day. We're going to cover that when we get to a closer look in the second half of the podcast. But let's just dive right in with Al Horford. He's going to be a Golden State Warrior. It's official. He's going to be making the tax mid-level exception, which is understandably more than the Celtics are going to be able to pay him. What are your thoughts on his fit in Golden State, Khari?
I think it's an interesting fit. Aging team, aging player. Mostly I'm just happy for Al. Go get your money, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But great run in Boston. Got a ring out of it. Like, you can't help but be happy for the guy. But as for his fit, I mean, I think the Warriors could use a stretch five, and that's certainly what Al brings, and someone to bring some energy and defense off the bench, which he will, as he always does. So I think ultimately it's a good fit in Golden State. I think it's a good situation for him financially, and he kind of fits in with that old school Warriors theme.
I take it you are not upset that he is going to Golden State like some fans of the Celtics are. How come?
Because I'm not a Celtics fan anymore. I was back in the day, but like I cover the team now, so I can't root for them. So I just got to be objective about it. And just the objective perspective is Al's a good dude. Love talking to him. I'm happy that he got some money. That's what I'm happy for.
Daniel, what do you think about this whole objectivity debate? I am coming from anthropology as a doctor of anthropology, and we look at objectivity considerably different in that we deny it exists in the first place and feel that it is better to put our rooting interest, shall we say, on the table. I agree with you. I root for them differently than I used to. I root for the players. I root for the people. I root for the organization. And I would probably do that for another team I was covering. So my objectivity is a little bit different. But Daniel, I'm curious, do you feel the same way about objectivity?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird process starting out as a New England native, a fan, and then becoming a journalist, covering the Celtics, which I got to be honest, I never thought would happen for me. But as for what Khari was saying about Al Horford, I mean, Brad said it himself that he was happy for him. It's not like they were very solemn. Like, they knew this was happening. They knew they couldn't pay him what he fully wanted. So yeah, I can respect that they came to terms with that, and they seem happy for him. It stinks that he went to a team with some history with the Celtics and to a team that is vying for a championship. I don't know how much of a legitimate contender they are, to be honest. But yeah, overall, I think it's a good move. And in terms of objectivity, it's definitely weird. But like Khari said, you just got to do your best to look at the players individually and not think too much of what your past is and how you might have been tied to the team previously as a fan.
Well, Justin,
Yeah.
I'm from Boston. Raised, grew up a Heat Celtics fan, but I don't know. Something about this industry just kind of beats it out of you. Like, that's just what it is. As you said, it definitely changes the way you root for teams, but like, I've literally got to the point where I can't root either way for the Celtics. Like, that's just what it is now.
It sounds crazy, and I won't deny the same thing has happened to me over the years, but it does. Maybe that's why all of us in the media are like, yeah, Al, get your money. It's totally cool. And there's a substantial subset of Celtics fans out there who are not thrilled about this move for the reasons that you pointed out, Daniel. The rivalry aspect of it, the more money aspect of it. I mean, Ray Allen was basically persona non grata in Boston for probably an even more stark situation in terms of like leaving what is clearly not going to be a successful situation for him or for his team, really, moving forward. He was pretty aware that era was over, I think, really before the rest of his team admitted it. And he was pilloried by the Celtics fan base. And this is a person who was dangled in trades. I don't know where I'm going with this exactly, other than to just say that whether you're objective about your Celtics fandom or not, Al Horford is a Hall of Famer. We're not going to debate that. But he is a person who's at least deserving, in my opinion, of consideration for a jersey retirement. I'm wondering what y'all think.
I'll let you go first.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this. Yeah, like you said, Hall of Fame for sure, no question. Him leaving the Celtics twice makes me hesitate a little on the jersey retirement. And just the fact that, I mean, the Celtics don't have that many numbers left. Like, they've retired a lot. So I think their standard might be a little higher. I could see them doing it. I don't think I'm completely sold on the idea. Also because, like, a lot of what is going to get Horford into the Hall of Fame didn't happen with the Celtics. Like, his championships in Florida, all the times he made the All-Star game with the Hawks. Like, he's done a lot outside of Boston too, but I know he's beloved in Boston and reasonably so. So I think it's possible. I'm just not like 100% sold on the idea personally.
Let me push back before Khari answers on the notion that there aren't enough jersey numbers. You could field 3 full modern NBA teams worth of jerseys without using any that are currently in use. So I don't buy that, but it is kind of weird seeing people in the 70s and 80s and 90s and such. And we're starting to see that this season. But Khari, Khari, excuse me, I will get this right. What do you think about whether or not it makes sense to retire Horford's number?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I'm against it. I mean, I just think that the threshold it should be high for the Celtics. And like, you know, ultimately with the story as this franchise is, we're talking 1 ring, we're talking a guy who left twice, great run ultimately. And when he won the ring, he had to reinvent himself as a bench player. So it wasn't like he was a super duper star when he got the ring, and not taking anything away from Al, because love the guy, love his contributions. But I just don't think, I think there should be like a Celtics like pantheon. Like, I think you got to be one of the absolute greats. And it's like, if you put Al up there in the rafters, you basically have to put like the whole starting 5 in the rafters. Like, does Drew get in? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, it opens that up, you know what I mean? Like, I think, you know, JT and JB obviously get in. They get their jerseys retired, but I don't know. I think there has to be a little bit higher of a standard, in my opinion.
Those are fair arguments. I will suggest to everyone that he did leave twice, right? That is a huge stain, I guess you could say, on the case to retire his number. But also, he chose Boston once as maybe we are, I think all are aware that there has been no cap room for major free agent signings for much of Boston's history. But other than like maybe like Wayne Embry or something way, way, way back in the past, he's probably the biggest free agent to ever sign in Boston. I mean, can y'all think of somebody bigger who signed in Boston?
No, and let's be real about it. Boston is not a free agent destination like that. So Al made a very unorthodox choice to come here. And we got to give him some points for that for sure. Great point, Justin.
Yeah,
I think ultimately, go ahead.
I was just going to say quickly, I mean, even the Celtics' best player, Tatum, like he said when he got drafted, he didn't want to be a Celtic. Like, a lot of the players growing up aren't even fans of the team. So, yeah, that it doesn't exactly make the free agency aspect easier.
Well, going all the way back to Russell, we got to either get these guys in the draft or the trade. Like, you don't get these type of free agents here in Boston for basketball.
Absolutely. I mean, like Embry was at the end of his career when he came, and it was near the end of Russell's career for that matter as well. But I mean, other than him, I can't think of any, and someone's going to kill me in the comments, I'm sure, but I cannot think of another big free agent signing, maybe ever in Boston's history. It's just not really something that happened. But enough history lessons. There is some other history related to the Celtics that is not going so great to start. It could just be a blip, but it is kind of reminiscent of what we've seen from him in the last couple of years. And that is Marcus Smart is already missing training camp with the Lakers. What are y'all's thoughts with his potential fit and his new home? Khari, I'll go to you first.
I mean, first of all, just off of aesthetics, I'm gonna say Marcus Smart in purple and gold, gross. Like, come on, man. Yeah, I don't think anyone wanted to see that. Marcus to me will always be a Celtic. But I don't know. Marcus has had a rough go of it the last couple of years. He's been injured. He's definitely lost a step or two. And so I don't know. I think when you get guards that are hitting that wrong side of 30 and they start to take a little bit of a step back physically, it can be a tough fit, especially when you play the way Marcus does, because he's all about hustle and energy and grit, and he's not the greatest shooter. And it's like, when you get to that point in your career, it's tough. It's tough to find minutes. We saw that in Memphis. We saw that in Washington with them. And now the Lakers, again, I'm not sure if it's the greatest fit.
Daniel?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at it before. He's only played like 54 games since leaving Boston. The numbers aren't great, and I know a lot of people jumped on Porzingis for not being very healthy when he first got traded to the Celtics. But I mean, they traded away Smart, who's kind of had the same issues, at least lately. And obviously the Porzingis Smart deal worked out for them. But yeah, just really unfortunate that this is kind of happening in the twilight of his career. But I'm not gonna fully count him out yet. We'll see. I think he can still contribute to that team, especially because they need defense. But yeah, hopefully he's just healthy for it.
Well, I'm of the mind that he's probably given the best that he had in his years with the Celtics. I don't remember what podcast I was listening to, but someone made the point that when the Celtics are done with a player, it's probably best to move on because they've squeezed every last bit of juice out of their playing career. And if you look back at how a lot of players who have succeeded very well here, I mean, a lot of it is system based, to be clear, but it's not uncommon too for like once the Celtics are done with the player, there you might want to worry about their future. I hope that is not the case in Portland with Drew. It seems to be the case there with Rob. We want to see these guys on the court, even if they are in really ugly looking uniforms. The trailer for Netflix's new season of Starting Five with Jaylen Brown is going to be out. What are our thoughts on that? Daniel, you could be checking that out. What are your thoughts on that series? They picked the right people?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna watch that. I mean, mainly just Celtics side. Jaylen Brown's in it, so I'm gonna watch it. But also they got SGA, like reigning Finals MVP. Halliburton, that'd be really cool behind the scenes, especially given the terrible injury that happened in Game 7. Harden is kind of just funny. Like, he's a funny guy. I would like to see what he's doing off the court, which they'll show. And am I forgetting anybody? Oh, yeah, Kevin Durant in that disastrous Suns season. I think that could be kind of interesting. And he's another guy who's pretty interesting off the court, too.
Absolutely. Khari?
I'm gonna be real. It's not at the top of my watch list, even though JB's in it, but that's just me personally, because I also cover the Patriots, so I got to kind of triage my sports watching time. So I'm locked in watching another sport, and also there's just some other documentaries I want to get to too. Like I just interviewed Gotham Chopra, who co-directed Believers, the new Red Sox doc, on 2004. Faith in the Red Sox. I think that's going to be really interesting. And it's October, so it's baseball time in Boston, as you know, the Red Sox and Yankees tonight. So I got a couple other things ahead of Starting Five, but if I can get to it, I will.
So let's take a closer look at Media Day, training camp, and all that stuff. But as we are wont to do on the show, Khari is going to steal the pod today. What do you have for us, Khari? This is where we talk about whatever is on the rundown. We aren't going to talk about enough, or preferably something that's completely not on the rundown.
Okay. You guys watch football at all? Any Pats fans in the building?
I mean,
got-
I'm from New England, Connecticut, but I grew up when they were bad, and then like the Whalers left Connecticut, and yeah, so I just kind of grew up a Celtics fan. Oh, I did.
About Drake May, is he the truth? How are they gonna do Sunday?
This is you.
Well, Sunday's the Bills, right?
Yeah, that Sunday night. It's one of their only primetime games.
Yeah, this will be a good test for him. I mean, I like Drake May, and I do think we have hope with him. I just think the pieces around him are still a little lacking, but Drake May himself, I do like. And I guess they got McDaniels back, and it's been going okay so far. I mean, what, they're like 2-2. They probably should have beat the Raiders, and that Steelers game was terrible as well. But I like Drake May, and if they can somehow beat the Bills, I don't know if that's really likely at all, but if they could somehow beat the Bills, that would be a huge momentum shift for them.
They should be 3-1, man. They fumbled 5 times in that Steelers game, and as you guys know in basketball, turnovers will kill you.
Dude, Stevenson,
More so, yeah.
yeah. I have Stevenson in fantasy, and that just hurt me. I'm like, how is he still have such a terrible fumble problem? Like, it, I thought it was just maybe a one-off thing last year, but clearly it's not.
Yeah, Ramondre has something going on. I mean, it's been a rough year for him. He's had a lot of like loss in his life, like personally. And it's weird because he didn't have this problem like throughout the first like 3 years of his career. All of a sudden, through the last calendar year, something's going on with him mentally. And I don't want to speculate, but he's had a rough year personally. So I kind of feel for Ramondre on that for sure.
Okay, I didn't know that, but I mean, that makes sense.
Guy during season, and his best friend died last year during the season. So like, yeah, I'm not making excuses for the guy, but like he's had 2 deaths that have hit him really hard, and I'm just wondering if that's affected the way that he's played.
No, I mean, I bet it has. Like, I guess just to relate it to the Celtics with Xavier Tillman, I feel like that's maybe a similar situation. Clearly, that personal stuff affects how you can play. I can't claim to know what's going on with Stevenson, but I mean, that's definitely possible.
Yeah, it's a sad situation, man, honestly. But Ramondre, I got faith. He's a really good player. I think that he knows that his job is to hang on to the ball, and he'll be able to do it. I mean, he was up near the top of the league in fumbles among running backs last year, so it definitely wasn't good, and that's a problem. But like, Vrabel was sticking by him, and he played him last week, and everything went well. So we'll see, man. Sunday's gonna be fun. Sunday's gonna be a nice atmosphere. I mean, when was the last time you seen the Patriots get a night game, man? It's been forever.
It's been a long time. And I mean, hey, if he has a good game against Buffalo, I feel like he'll definitely earn some goodwill. And he had that really good catch with Drake May. I think it was like the longest of his career. Who was that against again?
Bro, that was Miami with a 56-yarder. And
Yeah, okay. Hey, if they do something like that, I don't know, shock the Bills. It's in Buffalo, right? Or is it?
it's in Buffalo. It's at Buffalo. Josh Allen, reigning MVP in the building. I mean, come on, man. What better test could you want? Division game, Sunday night, like
Big week for
Buffalo.
Boston sports. That, the Yankees, Red Sox, which is like very soon, but it's just big week.
Mhm.
Very cool. Well, the last time I paid any attention to football was when UConn was playing Syracuse at the start of this NCAA season, and for like 3/4 of the game, they were winning. For those of you who don't know, UConn basketball really good. UConn football, not so much. And they lost, so I don't care about football again. Sorry, born in the wrong time, I guess. I don't know what to say, but let's talk about some stuff I do know about, which is the Boston Celtics Media Day, which both of y'all were at. Khari, what was the overall vibe that you saw?
It was a long day, wasn't it, Daniel?
I heard.
I was like, wait, did this end way earlier last year? I was like, huh?
What was going on with that?
Huh?
What was going on with that? Like, what was the reason? Because like I was sitting at home, like y'all watching the NBC stream, and like Then there was just like
Okay.
waiting forever. And then people would appear and then go away again.
I don't know, but here's my conspiracy theory. I think we just had to wait while the guys just kind of did what they wanted to do and hung around. Like it wasn't all back to back to back. They split it up in the middle. And, I think didn't JB said he was going to be streaming during that? Like initially in his Instagram posted like that he was going to be streaming at 11 o'clock. And Bill Nye actually pulled up at the end of it. So that was actually pretty cool. But I don't think they had them dudes all lined up back to back to back, ready to go like some other teams would have. But the Celtics, they're very deliberate about like the players are going to do what you're going to do and the media is going to wait, which is, it just is what it is. It's part of the business, I guess. But as far as the overall vibes, man, vibes are good. I would say like Tatum looks like he's like ahead of schedule. Like, JB brought some good vibes. I think the most interesting moment to me was when Joe got asked about the whole Anthony Simons and Pritchard stuff because he's immediately like, I want to nip that in the bud. Because people were talking about a point guard competition, but it's real. It's like we don't really know we know what Anthony Simons looks like on the defensive end, and it's not good. We also don't know what Pritchard looks like night in and night out playing starter minutes on the defensive end. So it's like, can you really play these guys at the same time? I don't know. So I thought that was really interesting. I thought Joe's response was telling because people have been Joe has been hearing about that. So he had kind of a strong reaction to that, which was kind of funny.
Understandable. Yeah, no. Daniel and I have talked about this on previous episodes, and I think if I'm not mistaken, we kind of agree it's going to be more matchup based in terms of how who starts, right? Like there's definitely going to be situations where like you're too small. I think if Peyton is starting against some teams. But is there like the other big thing, at least for me, from the Simons aspect of things, was the comment that pissed everybody off about he can defend if he wants to, which if you hear it in context, it's really not quite so bad. But he seemed to be taking, at least the way I was reading his comments, I wasn't there. I didn't hear them live and get to see his facial expression exactly. It's like it's not the same thing when you're watching on a little tiny screen. Do we think that he was taking shots at Portland, Daniel, when he was talking about like kind of like culture oriented comments about like being taught to defend or is that really just kind of like us looking for something to kind of get people to read more?
Um, I mean, some of the stuff he did say where he was praising the Celtics in Boston and how it's like a winning culture and stuff. I don't know if that's like a shot necessarily, but I mean, it's true. Like, no offense to the Blazers, they got one championship, but like that in Boston, very different franchises. So I'm sure that's a big difference for him going from a team where they barely have any primetime games, half the country probably doesn't watch it because it's too late, to one of the primetime NBA markets, regardless of Tatum's health or not. That's probably a pretty big jump for him. But I don't necessarily think it was a shot at the Blazers. Um, I do think his comments on that were interesting, and I really thought it was interesting when he said Joe and him had honest conversations about his defense. And Joe literally told them, like, you're not as bad as people think you are on defense. People were going crazy over that quote online, but I thought that was really telling and a good look into how Joe relates to his players and also inspires them because it's gonna help him because he's gonna need that kind of talk to help the Celtics because obviously their defense took a hit this year, and Simons could be a big part of what they're trying to do, at least for the first half of the season. We'll see after the trade deadline.
So, Khari, those comments about defense in particular, like it sounded to me that he was not taking a shot of Portland, but kind of more saying that they depend on him for like a really heavy offensive load. And they didn't really expect him to be, they kind of just expected him to step into more of like a Dame role, basically once Dame was gone. That's how I took that. I'm curious what your thoughts about those comments are, and like based on what you've heard, do you expect him to really buy in on the defensive end, whether or not it's successful in practice?
I don't think it had anything to do with Portland at all. I think what he's saying is defense is effort based. And like that's real. Like I think you see situations where sometimes people who aren't great defenders can raise their game because they're in the right environment. And I think that's something that you'd have to consider with the Celtics team because they are a really good defensive team and he's a really below average defender. So I think what he's saying is like he's got to up his game and it's got to come from within, which is accurate. Like I think you can put more effort into being a better defender and improving that way than you can on, say, certain skill based things that, you know, you're just not going to do, right? Like someone like Rondo is never going to be a great shooter. Like, you know, he can shoot a bunch of jump shots all the time, but you can put effort into being a better defender. Like we see development in terms of people getting better on the defensive end all the time. Like one example I'll use is Sam Hauser, right? Like Sam Hauser is much improved on the defensive end. Teams used to hunt him, and like now you cannot hunt Sam Hauser anymore because, like, you know, it just is what it is. He got better, so I don't think there's anything about Portland. I think he's being real. Like, yo, I'm in Boston now. People are going to tell me if I suck. And he's like, I'm not going to say he sucks on the defensive end, but like, people are going to be real. People are going to be in his ear like, yo, what's up with your defense, man? Like, and so, you know, he's real. He's acknowledging it. He's talked to Joe about it. And Joe's like, listen, you're not going to be that bad of a defender if you try, which is what a coach is supposed to say. I wouldn't want my coach to say anything else.
Yeah, and honestly, one of the things that really stuck with me watching Media Day from home was how many people talked, particularly new people like Josh Minot. Minot, excuse me. I am so bad with names today. Someone retire my tongue. Oh my God. Anyway, the way that like people who have not been working with Joe went out of their way, basically Simons as well, to basically say like his personal touch to get to know you as a person surprised them, made them buy in more. I think Simon said that. I'm curious, Daniel, what do you think of these comments about his coaching style? And there's a lot of speculation that Joe, might not be the best coach for a developing squad because of his, shall we say, slightly abrasive persona. But, you know, that's a persona, I think, and it's not always the same depending on the context you're meeting him in. Does this change your view of our curiousness about whether he's going to be the right guy for the job for kind of like a retooling team?
Yeah, I think I've always been kind of confident in Joe being the right guy, especially for this retooling period. And as far as the comments from Josh, I thought it's been really telling that him and Luka Garza, like completely new guys who've only been there for maybe like 2 months, I think, that they're that bought in and that they're already that inspired by this guy they pretty much just met. I think that says a lot. And clearly, if Brad and company helped give him the extension, they believe in him and they believe that he's the right guy to kind of guide the ship during this more stormy weather, I guess, if you want to say that for this season. But yeah, I think during this period and post this time, I think Joe's the right guy, and he's shown that one, just how fast he's connecting with some of the new guys. And hopefully they can develop into something more when Tatum does come back.
What do you think, Khari? Is he the right guy? What do these comments tell us?
I think a lot of it is genuine. I think, especially when Chris Boucher was talking about how Joe went to his baptism, like that shows that Joe is willing to go the extra mile. And, you know, also Tatum talking about Joe being, you know, at every single step of his recovery from the first time that he like walked again to the first time he took a jump shot. So, yeah, there is a level of genuineness to the comments, but I also want to remind people for a little bit of perspective. Season hasn't even started yet, so we don't know whether any of this is legit. You know, and also
You're saying this isn't legitimate news?
I'm just saying, like, my bigger point is, so these guys kind of have to say that, right? Like, nobody's gonna go out on the first day and be like, I hate Joe Mazzulla, that guy sucks, even if that's the way that, you know, that they feel. You know what I mean? So like, you know, I'm sure a lot of it is genuine. I'm sure that Joe has done a lot of great things that endear him to his guys. I think he has the job for a reason. And I think part of that reason is he gets along with the players for sure, which is key, especially in the league that is driven by superstars now. Like if you don't have a good relationship with your superstar, you're out of there. But he also seems to take the time to get to know the guys just on a basic level, human level, top down, and even seems to go above and beyond. But just for the record, my stance is that these guys can't really say anything else because it's not politically correct.
No, I mean, you really do have a point. If someone shows up in media day and they're saying that kind of stuff immediately, like you already know how the season is going to go. It's not going to go well, right? That Chris Boucher, I don't want to call it press conference, moment at the podium, I guess we could call it. That was intense, man. I did not know, one, that he had been homeless. I've always been a fan of Jimmy Butler because not just because he's a great player, but because like I was homeless when I was in my early teens briefly. And to be able to get away from that kind of like cycle of poverty and do something with your life is just so impressive. But also the fact that he's only been playing basketball since he's 19 years old, which like it makes me wonder like if he's like low key like younger than his age in terms of like basketball years. Like you guys think that maybe he actually might have a future in Boston, not like as a major like part of the rotation or anything like that, but like as a backup player. Like could he be here past the season? Gary?
I gotta see. Honestly, I haven't watched too much of the Raptors, so like I'd be lying if I told you I was locked into Toronto basketball. What I will say is that relationships are key in this business, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets along with Joe, especially because like they had that little skirmish earlier when he was in Toronto. But he also said during the press conference that he and Joe are kind of like the same guy, which I found interesting because the word he used to describe himself was mellow, and that's not anywhere near the universe that I would use to describe Joe. So that is interesting. I'm interested to seeing how that dynamic is. As for him on the court, we just got to see how it fits. There's a lot of new moving pieces, and that's kind of the theme this year. Is that this is not last year's Celtics team. We got a bunch of new things to try to get used to, and Boucher is going to be one of them. I think he can be interesting though with his athleticism and his length.
The point you brought up with different Celtics team, there has been so much discussion about racing up and down the court. Luka Garza was talking about in practice, and like people talking about like I'm sure you guys saw some of the assistants coming off the court covered in sweat is what I'm hearing. I didn't get to see them obviously, but that's what I've been hearing from several people. Daniel, what are your thoughts on one, how real this sea change in Celtics play is? Like, are they really going to be like run and gun, or do we expect to see more 3-pointers? And two, let's call this the Khari clause. How much of this was 15 pounds of muscle, etc.?
Yeah, I guess to address the Khari point first, I will say Media Day is kind of like a PR bonanza. Like they are going to say the right things. And like you said, Justin, if they don't say the right things, then that's a bad sign. Like I remember last year when Darko or the Raptors head coach was like, basically like, yeah, we're going to be a tanking team. So I was like, okay, well, they're not they're not going to be good. They're not lying about that if they said it on Media Day. But as far as the pace thing, I think that's legitimate. I mean, Xavier Tillman mentioned it. Josh Minot said they wanted to be the fastest team. Joe talked about it at practice. Luka Garza mentioned it. And we all know that Jaylen Brown has been pretty adamant about running up and down the court as fast as possible and just going in transition a lot. Like, I think it was last year. I think it was after they beat the Magic or Pistons. I forget exactly, but Jaylen Brown's like, I want us to be faster. Like, I want to be one of the fastest teams. And now, since the offense is built around him, at least for this year, it makes sense to up the pace a little. And hey, we just saw the finals, the Thunder and the Pacers, the two fastest teams that really like to get up and go and get back quickly and generate a lot of points off turnovers and steals. So I wouldn't be shocked if the pace thing is legit. I think I believe in that. But as for the other stuff, yeah, there's probably some things that are being hammed up because it is media day, and they're not going to rain on the parade before the season starts.
Yeah, I kind of found myself leaning towards believing them as well, just because of the fact that if you are a team that is low on talent, one of the things you can do to increase your odds of winning is just increase the number of possessions and shoot more threes, right? So I think we're going to see both. I actually don't think it's going to be one or the other. Khari, am I off base in this, or what do you see from all
No,
this
there's
chatter
no
around?
way they could shoot threes than last year. Absolutely not. And they don't have a strong five anymore. They're saying this because they're small. That's what this is. Lost all their bigs. Nimi's going to be their starting. At this point, Nimi's their starting center. So it's like they don't have the size or the skill at the center position that they used to. And so yes, they're gonna have to push the pace, because this is what's going to be interesting about this year. To me, this is one of the biggest storylines of the year. We're going to figure out if Joe Mazzulla can, one, coach, and two, adjust. Because, like, Joe has had an awesome roster with insane, sick versatility for such a long time. And he still does, to a degree, have a great roster. But, like, it's different now. Like, you're not having Porzingis pull up from way beyond the arc at 7'2" and break the game that way. You're not having Al being able to come in and hit threes as a big. Like, you lost Luke Cornett. Like, of course you're gonna have to play faster if you lose all three of those guys.
So we could talk about media day for a day, right? There was so much content coming out of that, but I think one thing we definitely need to touch on before we move on is Jason Tatum talking about his own situation and when he's going to come back. Uh, there's been discussion that he basically said that he is going to come back for a home game, and I'm curious if either of you, one, believe that is going to happen at any time before the trade deadline, and then two, I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at the rundown. I have a list of games where it could come back. Personally, I think that if it is going to come back, it's going to be one of the early December games. Early, that is. Like, I think he's going to come back this season from based on what we've seen so far. But I think it's going to be one of the early December games against either the Knicks or the Lakers. And I could see the reasoning behind either one, whether you're looking like short term or long term. How how he's looking at it, like if he wants to like kind of like memory hole that moment when he was injured, the Knicks are the clear choice. If you want to kind of like threaten the biggest rival, blah, blah, blah. We all know that. Lakers, but like, what do you guys think? Khari, what do you think about this whole narrative of returning, when it's going to happen, if you believe him? And like, give me a day.
So Tatum looks good in his video. He seems like he's way ahead of schedule, but December seems really early to me because, like, so he got injured in mid-May, right? No. When was that?
Mid-May, 12.
Right? So December would make it 7 months. 7 months seems really soon for an Achilles. Like, that's a serious injury. I don't think I've heard of anyone coming from that injury, coming back from that injury that quickly. So if you're looking at the trade deadline in February, that's like 9 months. Even that's really soon. Now, granted, Tatum is a lot younger than some of the guys that I remember rupturing their Achilles. He's younger than Kobe was. He's younger than Dominique Wilkins was when he did it. Tatum's also a freak athlete with an insane work ethic, which I think helps. And also, there's the fact that he literally stayed in New York overnight to get the surgery done almost immediately. So that might help. But even with all that, I think even February sounds early to me. But then again, what you're banking on is something like borderline superhuman. Like, I don't think we've seen anyone come back on an Achilles tear
In the NBA,
in
in
the
the NFL,
Yeah.
NFL, players have come back at 6 months, which is a whole month less than what we're talking about in this particular scenario. I admit that would be the earliest conceivable in my mind, would be early December return. There are some people going crazy and saying, "Look, what if he's talking about opening night?" He's not talking about opening night. That's insane. But Daniel, I'm curious what your take on the situation is.
Yeah, I agree with Khari about the deadline. I don't think it's gonna happen before the deadline. That would shock me. That'd be truly impressive, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
Post deadline, I'm more confident. I saw somebody joking on Twitter that Tatum bobblehead night was some day in March. I think it was against like the Hornets. So people are like, "Oh, what if he comes back then?" But I think the Warriors.
Team, but yeah.
Yeah, it would be a little underwhelming. But I mean, hey, he said he wanted it to be at home, so we know that's gonna happen. And after seeing that video, I'm more confident that it will be this season. Granted, nobody in the Celtics building wants to rush him back, except maybe Tatum himself, and
Yeah.
he might have a pretty significant say in that. But yeah, trade deadline would surprise me a lot. I'm sure he would love to play those premier teams though, like the Knicks and the Lakers. Like I'm sure he'd be dreaming of that. But there's a fair chance it could be maybe a less important game in March or maybe even April, but we'll see. If it got that late, they might just wait till next year, but we'll see.
So let's switch to gears and touch on training camp. Were either of you able to go to the interview session after the first session?
Oh no, I've been at the Patriots.
And I was sick, unfortunately, but I saw a lot of clips.
You are soldiering through this podcast sick, so don't be too mean to Daniel if he sounds different than he usually does. He's a brave soldier, and I'm grateful he's here with us. Why was Taylor Jenkins there in y'all's opinion? Khari, what do you think?
Probably because he's Renzel Joe. That's right.
That's probably the most logical answer I've heard so far, honestly. Any differing opinion, game? That
Nothing. I don't think I have too much of a different opinion on that. I mean, it was interesting seeing him there. Maybe he'll try and get in some advisee like role or just squeeze in there, but I don't know. I've heard he's also been at other practices too. Like I don't think this is just a Celtics thing, but still interesting. I mean, ESPN like Tim Bontemps tweeted about it, so clearly it's like not nothing, but I don't know how much of something it is.
the other interesting tidbit that I've gleaned from the first training camp session was Joe Mazzulla shooting down the hockey sub idea that Jordan Walsh brought up, I think at media day. Is there any merit to such an approach in the NBA, or is that just kind of like a novelty thing?
Now with this Celtics roster, it's not. That sounded crazy off the rip to me. Like if you're in a situation where you're John Calipari at Kentucky and you've got Devin Booker coming off the bench, then you can start talking about stuff like that. But like the Celtics are not in a position to be doing Kentucky waves out here. Like they're really not. They're not that talented. They don't even know who their starting point guard's going to be. Like no.
Daniel?
Yeah, I don't think so, but it feels like whenever Joe speaks with the media, there's some mind games going on. So I don't know if Jordan Walsh has also inherited that approach. I do know, like at times they have kind of played jokes on the media, like Joe has helped like plan that with some of the players. But
Really?
this idea, yeah, I don't.
Got any examples?
I think like there's been times where they all try to mention like a certain word.
Yeah.
So like they'll just all sneak that in somehow into like a presser. So
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering why he was so keen on using extrinsic and intrinsic on media day. Like he really worked those words out several times, and it did catch my attention, but I don't think that's quite what you're talking about. I could definitely see him and Jordan working with this hockey subs thing because, like, frankly, it sounds completely ridiculous to me too. I can't think of anywhere outside of the NCAA level I've seen it in pro ball anywhere. Maybe in Europe. I don't know. I don't really watch Eurobasket too much. Preseason coming very soon, the 8th, next Wednesday. The Celtics will play Memphis, then Toronto on the 10th, Cleveland at home on the 12th, and then Toronto on the 15th. Khari, does it matter if the Celtics win these games? And if not, why?
No, it does not matter if the Celtics win those games. I mean, you know, it's the preseason. I mean, just crossing over sports, right? The Patriots looked awesome in the preseason, and they look pretty good now. But like, we all thought Travion Henderson was going to come in and tear the league up because he had that 100-yard kick return, his first NFL touch, and it's just like, it's a little bit different in the NBA because in the NFL you're legitimately playing like backups in the preseason, but in the NBA you're not playing the premier stars. Like you're not seeing 40 minutes a night of Jason Tatum. Like you're seeing other guys get a shot. And so in the spirit of that, it's not going to be the same when they go up against Memphis versus when John Morant is going at people on opening night. So it will be nice to get a good start, but ultimately we're not going to remember any of these games.
Daniel, what are you going to be looking for from these preseason games, if anything in particular?
Well, one thing, health, because just based off the preseason game that happened today, I saw with Josh Hart, he like hurt his back. I haven't seen anything yet that it's like too serious, but still, like anything like that going down during preseason is scary, especially for this Celtics team where they cannot afford to have anything like that happen to any one of their top guys. But as for like player by player basis, I mean, maybe I would like to see guys like Jordan Walsh have decent showings. Like Khari said, I don't think we're really going to remember these games. Like last year, Lonnie Walker had some okay Celtics preseason games, and hey, that didn't go anywhere. But yeah, guys like that who are young but heading into a really important year, like Jordan Walsh, Kata, you'd obviously like to see them bring something to the table because they've kind of wandered into a situation where they're going to be important for the Celtics team.
So, as we tend to do at this time of year, we have discussions about how long preseason should be, or if we should even have preseason. Khari, what's your opinion? What's the optimal number of preseason games? Celtics have 4 this year. They've had as many as 8 in my lifetime. What's the optimal number and why?
Well, that sounds about right. I mean, just a couple of weeks to ramp up. I mean, it's about 5% of the season. So that makes sense to me. I definitely don't want more preseason. But you also can't have like 1 or 2 preseason games. Is that really a preseason? So I think 4 is it's about right. They got it about right in my opinion.
I would even go 3 personally. I don't particularly enjoy watching. It's like watching the first NCAA basketball game of the year of the team you're following playing like you never heard of a state. But anyway, we are more or less at the end of this podcast, which brings us to something to remember or forget, where we do just that. And I'll give y'all time with my choice for this segment this week, which is going to be earphones. Remember to bring them.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, y'all are looking at me like I'm a crazy person because I've done a great job of editing out the echo. But if you do hear any of it, please don't kill us. One of us, not that you could tell, forgot their earphones in. Well, we're going to do our best in the lab. Dale, what do you got?
Well, something to remember, I'll do 2 things. One, earbuds. But number 2, I'll do Bill Nye showing up to media day because that was just like pretty crazy and like a crazy like childhood moment because I was just sitting in the row I usually do for media day, and Jaylen Brown's coming up, and we've been waiting for a good while for him, to be honest. And Bill Nye's just right behind him. And I had heard he was there, but I was still surprised because he's like, oh, he's coming up for the press conference. And then he comes over and sits literally right to the left of me, like right next to me. I was like, oh, the heck? So I was like, okay, well, I got to ask Jaylen Brown about this. And then he had some like nice things to say and how they've been supporting each other. And then talked about like how they're trying to recycle or use like recycled material for a ball. I don't know. Like it got into a pretty scientific conversation. And then Bill had his own media scrum, and Khari was there for that too. Like it was just a wild set of circumstances. But pretty cool. I mean, I I never thought I would sit next to Bill Nye or have a conversation with him, but yeah, it was just a cool moment.
Daniel, there's an awesome photo of you on Boston.com with Bill Nye. Like, I actually used it for the story I wrote, but like, yeah, you were sitting right next to him, and it's got you in the background asking, that question to Jalen. So, like, one of the Globe photographers caught you at the exact right moments. That was cool. Definitely check it out.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yo,
Might need to make that a picture or put that somewhere like
yeah, that's what I was referring to when I said I saw. Yeah, no. Do y'all get starstruck when you talk to people? Like when I talk to like today's NBA players, it's my job. I don't feel weird about it. It's just I do it, right? But like when I interviewed Robert Parrish, or like when I interviewed for Anthropology, a Mexican politician, a famous Mexican politician, like I found myself the tongue just like stops working and I get all nervous and all that stuff. Does that like when you're outside of your normal ambit, do you guys ever get like a little starstruck?
Not often. It has to be someone like mega. Like,
Yeah. Don't know.
I would say most recent person that made me go, man, I'm talking to this person would be Ice Cube, right? Like, I would say he's the most recent one. Him and David Ortiz are two that I can say since I've moved back to Boston. But it's not any of the Celtics or the Patriots because I'm around them all the time. And it would take someone that's like either I have a personal connection with them, like via childhood, or they're like someone in a complete different industry who's like a legit star.
Yep. Daniel?
Yeah, for me, I mean, I don't know if I get like starstruck per se, where like I don't know what to say. Like when I interviewed Paul Pierce, I think I could like lock in for that. But after I was like, wow, like did that just happen? Like I just talked to Paul Pierce. Like that was crazy. It was like a one-on-one thing. Um, and then I've seen some famous people randomly in the wild, like not journalism, not sports related. And those moments I'm kind of like, oh wow. But I don't think I've quite gone to the level of seeing somebody where I just like wouldn't be able to speak, but maybe if somebody really famous pulled up, they just don't come to the Celtics games. That's all.
Very true. All right, Khari. I think we gave you enough time. What's there something to remember or forget?
Something to remember is to be kind to each other. We live in a crazy world, and we should all remember that we all live together in this country here called America. I don't know how international your audience is, but like, we live together. I think to be a good neighbor, you should spread kindness, spread love, and just be a good person.
Yeah, those are words to live by, particularly lately. We all know what's going on. We don't need to talk about it on a sports podcast, but we do need to live with each other, and that's excellent advice. Khari, where can we find your work?
You can find my work on Boston.com and sometimes BostonGlobe.com.
Very cool. Daniel.
Yeah, as always, you can find my stuff at Clutch Points and Celtics Wire, or just look up my name. It'll pop up, and at Daniel D1214 on Twitter or X. That's where I'll be talking a lot, and especially as the season ramps up, because we're almost there.
Very cool. All right, y'all. Thanks for joining us in Khari. This has been another episode of Havlicek Stole the Pod, and we will see you when there is some actual basketball being played next time. Adios.
But Havlicek